Hey guys, Jameson here. Welcome to the channel. Today I've got a pretty easy repair. We're going to be replacing a HID headlight in this 2014 Silverado. This is the Morimoto XB H11 HID bulb. So it's going to be slightly different than an OEM install, but pretty close to the same. A few connections are different, but mostly it's going to be just like installing an OEM bulb. So looking at the bulb, this is what we have right out of the box. I have a couple harnesses here. We're not going to need this one right here. This one just passes through the grommet. It's not actually connected to the bulb, so we don't need it in this application, so we're just going to chop that off. You got the grommet. You have the little protective case here with the foam. This is the H11 HID Morimoto. This is 5500 Kelvin, which is nice and white and bright and don't last terribly long. This set is $55. You get, or $50. I'm sorry. You get 2 bulbs on Amazon. I'll leave the link below. So all we need to do is just kind of get rid of this packing stuff, and then we're going to chop off this extra harness here. Slide that through the grommet and get that out of the way here. So this is what we're left with. This is obviously all aftermarket stuff. If you have OEM headlights, you're not going to see any of this, and it will be actually a little bit easier to replace. Not a whole lot easier, just less connections, less to deal with. One thing you want to be careful with, whether this be HID or halogen, is do not touch the glass here. Oil and crap from your fingers can cause these to burn out a lot quicker than they would otherwise, so just be careful when you're installing it not to touch any of the glass part of it. Just don't touch any of this up here. Just grab it right here, boom, install it, done, and then you're good. Okay, so we're working on the passenger side bulb, where the air box is going to be. Yours may be a factory air box, but it's still going to be right here. So most likely you're going to want to get it out of the way. You might be able to stick your hand down here. You know, the headlight is right here behind this flap in this dark abyss that you can't see yet, but this one's, you know, this aftermarket filter, I don't have to remove, you know, this whole setup. I'm just going to remove the filter, get it out of the way. Like I said, if yours is factory air box, then you might want to get that out of the way. It's going to be pretty simple. You might need a tool or something, but it's be relatively simple. Okay, so we're down here at the bulb now. It's got this little flappy doohicks. It's probably supposed to have a clip right there, but this one's missing. So since this one's the Morimoto, it's going to have these wires sticking out. Pretty much all the aftermarket HIDs are going to be very similar to this Morimoto. If it's factory, it's going to be a little bit different, but either way, this flap's got to come out of the way. Once the flap's out of the way, there's another clip on this other side, but this one's already like this, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. With these HID things here, we'll just pull the connectors here out of the hole in the flappy do, and then you have a plastic housing here. Okay, with the bulb here, we're going to basically do the same thing. We're going to turn it counterclockwise a bit, and then it should pop right out like that. Alright, so this is what we've got now. This is the cap for the headlight housing. We have this grommet here, just like on the new one, although this new one is mustard yellow, which is super, yeah, looks great, versus this black one here, which looks nice and clean. Even though they're the same brand, it is different either way. All we want to do is just pop this out, and you can just do that relatively easily here. Just kind of pop it through. You can pull it in either direction. Actually, it'll be easier to pull it through this way. Pull that through. You can unplug the bulb, like so. Just get that out of there. This gasket is super floppy here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just kind of do the reverse. We'll feed the connectors here through the holes. And slide the grommet back in. Okay, we'll pull this back out this way so we can get it installed. Okay, so if you look closely on the back of the headlight housing there, you're going to see one big slot and then two small slots. So we've got the big one's over here, and then we've got these two small ones, which will correspond with the bulb. You're going to have this big kind of cog here and then the two smaller ones. So what we want to do is line those up so we have the big one here, which is towards the left side of your screen, on the left side of the housing. So once you have those lined up, you'll just turn it clockwise. Okay, with the bulb installed, this next part you need to pay attention to what you're doing here, because this can be a little frustrating if you don't. This cap here is actually kind of labeled. It's not labeled top, but it is labeled with the GM logo. So the GM logo here is actually the top of the housing, and if you try and put it on opposite, it will not work, and you will say some words that you should not say. So I'm going to pull these wires through a bit here. This flappy crap out of the way. Okay, once you have all the slack, or as much as you can get out of the cables, then you want to make sure your orientation is right. Make sure your GM logo is facing upright. Make sure the gasket's still in place. You're going to position it slightly to the left here. Make sure it goes in solid. This part of the housing, or the lid, will be kind of flush with this little bracket right here, this part of the frame, or the grill, whatever it is. And then once that's all done, you have it fully seated flush. We'll just turn it clockwise to lock it into place. Okay, you can see with it fully locked into place, the angles here have changed, so that bottom kind of part of the lid is actually not flush anymore. So you can see it's not a whole lot of difference. So you'll start on the bottom piece, or the bottom part here. Start with that flush with this part right here, and then turn it to the right, and then you'll see this is what you end up with. So it's fully secured. Let's deal with our harness here. Slide that back through the holes. Resecure your clip right here if you have one. For the Morimoto kit, this is where you'll plug it in. These little, you'll see the two corresponding connectors right there. And you can't mix them up. Okay guys, here's the final result. We got the Morimoto HID 5500 Kelvin light bibs. It looks pretty good. They are the same brand, but a different age. But the color temperature does not appear to be a whole lot different. Very slightly different. So even with the same brand, you can see that there is a very slight difference between the two bulbs. So it does come with a 2-pack, so you can change them both at the same time, but it's not so far different that we can live with that until the other one goes out, and then we will have the matching pair.